Hey Falcons fans, we have some big news today, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the end because this one is going to be a game changer. If you've been following the Atlanta Falcons offseason moves or keeping an eye on our NFL draft predictions, you know there's been a lot of buzz lately. But first, make sure to hit that like button and join us to stay informed. Let's get right to it. On April 3rd, McElhaney released her latest mock draft, and guess what? She has a bold prediction that could make history. This isn't just another standard first-round pick. This one has local flair and upside and could finally fix one of the Falcons' biggest weaknesses. Tori McElhaney projected the Falcons to select none other than Georgia Bulldogs standout edge rusher Jalen Walker with the number 15 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Hold on, before you start jumping for joy or perhaps questioning the logic, let's break this down. McElhaney's been clear from the get-go that she's going to find a way to make this happen. And here it is. What can I say except, you're welcome, she joked in her mock draft release. I told you I would find a way to get Walker to the Falcons, and I am happy to report I did. Now, while McElhaney acknowledges that this might not be a 100% guarantee, there's always the chance that something unexpected happens on draft night. There's a strong argument that this could work out perfectly for Atlanta. Jalen Walker is a versatile, explosive force on the edge, and let's face it, this is exactly the kind of player the Falcons desperately need. McElhaney herself said it, someone that versatile in this defensive unit. The Falcons have struggled with their pass rush for years, and it's become a glaring issue. Last season, Atlanta ranked 31st in the NFL in sacks, with just 31 sacks on the entire season. For context, that's not just bad, it's downright awful. The last time the Falcons finished in the top half of the league in sacks was back in 2017, when they made their last postseason appearance. And ever since then, the pass rush has been a weakness. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but why Jalen Walker? Well, let's talk about that for a second. Walker isn't just any edge rusher. He's explosive, versatile, and he can immediately contribute to improving Atlanta's pass rush. The defense needs help, and Walker could be the answer. Not only that, but his potential to make an impact from day one is a huge plus. And let's not forget, he's a Georgia Bulldog, something that has sparked a lot of conversation in the Falcons community. For years, fans have been vocal about the Falcons' reluctance to draft Georgia players, and McElhaney is well aware of this. You've seen the debates online. How come the Falcons haven't drafted a Bulldog in the first round? It's an issue that's been discussed time and again, especially when you look at teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, who've grabbed 3 Georgia players in the first round over the past 3 drafts and are now reaping the rewards with a Super Bowl championship. And while I don't think the Falcons should just pick a Georgia player for the sake of it, it's clear that Walker would fill an immediate need and is more than just a local story. He's a player who could change the Falcons' defense for the better, something we can all get behind. But let's keep it real, this is only McElhaney's 5th mock draft of the offseason, and she's already been consistent in her predictions. Back in March, McElhaney had the Falcons selecting another Georgia edge rusher, Michael Williams. And guess what? This time around, she's doubling down on the Georgia connection, predicting Jalen Walker. McElhaney has even mentioned that of the 5 players she's projected to the Falcons in her first 5 mock drafts, Walker is the one that feels like the most intriguing pick. In fact, McElhaney has been pushing the idea of the Falcons selecting a Georgia edge rusher in 40% of his mock drafts. That's a strong statement, and it shows that the Falcons' need for a pass rusher is so significant that it's shaping how the team might approach the first round. Now, here's the part that's a little mind-blowing. For the Falcons, selecting a Georgia player, particularly someone like Walker, would be historic. It would be the first time in franchise history that they've selected a Georgia Bulldog in the first round of the draft. That's right, Atlanta has never drafted a Georgia player in the first round, and with Walker potentially being the one to break that streak, this could be a huge turning point for the Falcons. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Would you be excited to see Jalen Walker in the red and black of Atlanta? Do you think the Falcons will finally draft a Georgia Bulldog in the first round? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Now, there's one name that keeps coming up in the conversation for Atlanta's 15th overall pick, Marshall defensive end Mike Green. But before we dive into what makes Green such a hot topic, let's set the stage. The Falcons are in an interesting position. They're on the cusp of playoff contention, and this draft could make or break their future. If they get the right players, they could finally build a defense that strikes fear into opponents. But if they get it wrong, well, we've seen how that story ends before. Now, let's talk about Fieldgate's latest 2-round mock draft. He is green, landing in Atlanta at 15, and the reaction has been mixed. Some fans are all in on Green's production, while others are raising serious concerns. So, let's take a deep dive. What makes him an intriguing option, and what are the potential red flags? First, the good. Green was an absolute terror last season. He led the entire country with 17 sacks, piled up 23 tackles for loss, and generated 59 pressures. Those numbers are insane. He's not just an athlete putting up numbers against weaker competition. He dominated against legitimate NFL-caliber offensive linemen. Go watch his tape against Ohio State. He more than held his own against linemen who are projected to be first and second round picks in this very draft. And then there's the testing. Green didn't participate in the NFL Combine, but instead waited for his pro day. And when he did test, he blew it out of the water. His three-cone drill was 6.85 seconds, faster than any linebacker or defensive lineman at the Combine. To put that in perspective, Iowa's Jay Higgins had the best time at the Combine for his position group, and Green beat it by a mile. He also came close to leading in the 20-yard shuttle. But here's where things get tricky. Some teams and analysts are skeptical of pro day numbers, and for good reason. It's not uncommon for times to be a tenth of a second or more faster than at the Combine. A Texas running back, for example, was significantly faster at his pro day than in Indianapolis, raising questions about hand timing and stopwatch bias. So, are Green's numbers real, or is there a little home field advantage going on? And then there's the bigger issue, the off-field concerns. Green transferred from Virginia to Marshall, and while transfers are common these days, his situation raises eyebrows. He's been accused of sexual assault twice, once in high school and once at Virginia. No charges have been filed, and Green denies both allegations, but it's something teams will have to investigate thoroughly. His playing time at Virginia was inconsistent. Some games he played, some games he didn't play, and speculation is that it was tied to these allegations. If the Falcons draft him, they'll have to be absolutely certain about his character. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. The Falcons' second-round pick at number 46? They took Darius Alexander, a defensive tackle from Toledo. This is a head-scratcher. He's big, 6 feet 4 inches, 315 pounds, but the production isn't there. He played 6 years in the MAC and was second-team All-Conference his senior year. If you're in a smaller conference for that long, you're supposed to dominate, and yet he wasn't first-team All-MAC. That's a red flag. He also had just 3.5 sacks last season, not exactly game-changing pass rush production. So the Falcons leave the first 2 rounds with 2 defensive linemen. Green, an elite pass rusher with potential off-field concerns, and Alexander, a big body who may be nothing more than a rotation player. Could Atlanta have done better at 46? Do you think the team made the right choice? Leave a comment below. Hit the like button and subscribe for more news. Go Falcons!